88. What is the subnet mask of 135.44.33.22/20? A. 255.255.192.0. B. 255.255.240.0. C. 255.255.224.0. D. 255.255.248.0. Answer: 255.255.240.0. The 20 is the CIDR notation for the number of bits enabled in the subnet mask. This calculates to 255.255.240.0, which is 11,111,111.111.111.111.000000000 in binary. Count the 20 bits set to a 1 value. 89. You are designing the IP address scheme for your network and you need to subnet the 142.65.0.0 network into 12 different networks. What is your new subnet mask? A. 255.255.240.0. B. 255.255.192.0. C. 255.255.224.0. D. 255.255.248.0. Answer: 255.255.240.0. In order to get support for 12 subnets, you would need to subnet with 4 bits. 24 equals 16 networks. Because you started as a Class B, the value of the first octet falls between 128 and 191, with a default subnet mask of 255.255.0.0. To add 4 subnet bits, you would get a new subnet mask of 255.255.240.0. 91. How many masked bits are needed in order to create at least 20 subnets? A. 3. B. 4. C. 5. D. 6. Answer: 5. You need to mask at least 5 bits to create 20 subnets. 25 equals 32 subnets. If you try to use 4 bits, you do not have enough subnets. 24 equals 16 subnets. 92. You are designing your IPv4 address scheme. How do you calculate the network ID of a subnet? A. Set all host bits to 0. B. Set all host bits to 1. C. Set all network bits to 1. D. Set all subnet bits to 0. Answer: set all host bits to 0. The network ID for a subnet can be calculated by having all host bits set to 0 and then converting to decimal 93. How many hosts can exist on a network with the address of 180.45.10.20.20? A. 1024. B. 4096. C. 4094. D. 1022. Answer: 4094. With a subnet mask of 20, 12 bits remain for host bits. You can calculate how many hosts are valid with the formula of 212 equals 4096 2 equals 4094 valid addresses. 94. How many subnet bits do you need to create 6 networks? A. 3. B. 4. C. 5. D. 6. Answer: 3. If you were to use only 2 bits to create subnets, you would get 4 of them. 22 equals 4. Because that is not enough, you need to add 1 more bit to get 23 equals 8 networks. 3 subnet bits are used to create between 5 and 8 networks. 95. Which option on the Cisco router indicates that you can use the first and last subnets of a subnetted network? A. VLSM. B. IP subnet 0. C. RIPv1. D. RIPv2. Answer. IP subnet 0. The IP subnet 0 command is a default command on today's Cisco routers, which allows you to use the first and last subnets when subnetting. 96. Which of the following subnet masks matched to the CIDR notation is correct? A. 255.255.255.224 equals 27. B. 255.255.192.0 equals 19. C. 255.255.240.0 equals 27. D. 255.255.255.192 equals 28. Answer. 255.255.255.224 equals 27. The subnet mask of 255.255.255.224 would have 27 bits enabled, which would correspond to 2798. Your system uses the IP address of 145.68.23.45.25. How many systems are supported on your network? A. 126. B. 128. C. 64. D. 62. Answer. 126. There are 126 systems supported on the network. To calculate this, you take 2 host bits, which for 7 host bits is 128, then take the 2 illegal addresses, network ID and broadcast addresses, away to get 128 minus 2 equals 126 hosts on the network. 99. The fast Ethernet port on a router is assigned the IP address of 131.107.16.1/20. How many hosts can exist on the subnet? A. 4096. B. 4094. C. 1,048,574. D. 1022. Answer. 4094. There are 4094 systems supported on the network. To calculate this, you look at the existing subnet mask in CIDR notation, 20, meaning 20 bits are used for network bits. You then take that away from the possible 32 bits to calculate the number of host bits and get 12. You then calculate how many hosts, or systems, are supported by using the formula of 212 equals 4096 2 equals 4094. Remember, you need to take 2 away from the 4096 because 2 host addresses are always illegal to use for hosts: the network ID and broadcast address, 100. You want to assign your serial interface the third valid IP address in the second subnet of 192.168.2.0/26. Which IP address would you use? A. 192.168.2.3. B. 192.168.2.35. C. 192.168.2.64. D. 192.168.2.67. Answer. 192.168.2.67. The second subnet is the 192.168.2.64 subnet, with the third valid address being 192.168.2.67. Remember that the first address, 64, is the network ID, so the first valid address is 65, then 66, and the third valid address is 67.